They say that you're not allowed to talk about unpopular opinions, and guess what? I'm doing it anyway. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here because I asked you all, what is your most unpopular opinion when it comes to the Real Housewives franchise? And everybody left their opinion and I read some of them and some of them were scary. So I thought, let's make a video and let's discuss some of them. Now, before anything, I'm going to read these unpopular, again, let me repeat that, unpopular opinions that everybody has. Not everybody's going to agree with it. Not everybody's going to like it. These are unpopular opinions. And, I just want to put a warning here before anybody tries to fight me. Don't try it. But let's go with the first one, right? Let's get going. So the first one that has to do with the Real Housewives of Potomac. So Samuel's review, thank you for leaving your opinion. They say Giselle is a true fashionista. Well, I did say unpopular opinion, so let's continue. Giselle is a true fashionista. She's bringing back the fashions of the 60s, and many have begun to copy her personal style and her home decor. Let me put my laptop down. In the words of Candy from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the lies, the lies, the lies. I mean, is Giselle a fashionista? I mean, I'm not even sure if you're trolling or if you're just playing around. Maybe you're serious, but I mean, Giselle a fashionista? I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but as for her clothes, it's a no. I mean, every now and then, like every other month, she has one decent outfit that I'm like, okay, Giselle, you finally did it right. Whoever styled you, if you styled yourself, you finally did it correctly. But then, the next look that she puts on is just like, oh, never mind. She goes right back to square one. And at this point, I'm convinced that Giselle is probably doing it on purpose. Like she purposely dresses up, all sloppy or whatever, so people on the internet could like talk about her so she could, stay trending. I'm not saying that she dresses completely horrible because we have Sutton from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and we see how she dresses. Giselle has one leg up on her. The next unpopular opinion has to do with the Housewives of New York. Thank you, the black one, for leaving your opinion. So they say, Ramona Singer is the original of the Real Housewives of New York, and she is also the original Karen. She is garbage. Well, damn. Tell me how you really feel about her. I saw her on the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. Here I was hoping to see a different side, but nope, she is awful, and Bravo and Andy Cohen are plain cowards for not taking any accountability for Ramona's actions for years. And okay, so I've never seen the Housewives of New York at all, but I did see Ramona on the Ultimate Girls Trip. That was my first time ever experiencing her as a person, and I'm like, okay, let's see what she brings, because I've heard awful things about this woman, and yeah, on Ultimate Girls Trip, she was just as awful. I'm like, my goodness, I could barely stand her, and it was only like, what, 8 episodes? So I can only imagine how she was on the Real Housewives of New York for all these seasons. I'm assuming she was there from the season 1 all the way up to what, where are they now? Season 13 or 14 or whatever? So Ramona, I don't know. Again, she has a very terrible past from what I read and from what I've seen. And every time I see her in something, it's always controversy. She's always doing some stupid shit. This past season, I believe they canceled the entire reunion because Ramona, I think she was saying like some racist things, or she was like alluding to some behavior like that, some Karen behavior this past season with the new housewives, Ebony. And I feel like Andy and Bravo, they did try to cover it up. They tried to save her ass. They're like, you know what? Instead of trying to, hold her accountable at the reunion, we're just going to cancel the reunion overall. And we're just gonna go to the next season. And now look, they're trying to do this whole reboot, and they're trying to diversify the cast, and they're trying to do the legacy thing. And again, that's all to protect Ramona. And yeah, people always say Ramona makes good TV, Ramona makes good TV. But for anybody who watches the Housewives of New York, would y'all want her to come back for next season? Or do y'all think, she has done way too much and she needs to get the boot? We head over to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and No It Ain't a Weave says, Mary Cosby had the most hilarious confessionals. Those will be missed. And yeah, they will be missed. I did miss her this past premiere for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 3. I did miss Mary. Her absence was noticed a bit. I'm like, oh, she's not here. It would have been nice to see what her flashback would have been, at the very beginning of the intro. She probably still would have said the same thing that she says now, like, yeah, I don't like anybody. But, Mary, like I said in my reviews for last season, for season 2, I did not agree with a couple of things that Mary said because I feel like they were very ignorant. But like I said, and I'm not trying to excuse her actions or her words or anything, but I feel like they were not coming from like a malicious point of view. I feel like Mary may have said these things, but I just don't think that she was purposely trying to be mean or malicious or anything like that. I just felt like she was just ignorant and just, dumb, and she was just caught up in the moment. But Mary, her confessionals, they were hilarious. And you know what made it hilarious too? Because she knew that she did not know that she was hilarious. She would just speak and it would just be funny. Like she'll be in her confessional. And there was that one time that she was just like, And let's not forget her iconic when Whitney, went off on Meredith, and Mary was just standing there, and Whitney just walked by her, and she was just like, woman. Mary was cute. She was cute. She was something so different on the Housewives, especially to Salt Lake City. She was something different, and she was hilarious. She was, and again, it was because she was unintentionally funny, and it just sucks that, it turned out the way it did for her last season, and how everybody just kind of ganged up on her, and that caused her not to come up. That, and, the allegations of her cult at the church, and that's a whole different story. But what do y'all think? Would y'all like to see Mary come back for next season? The next unpopular opinion comes from Darkwing Duchess. Thank you for your opinion. This is a long one, so here we go. This should not be an unpopular opinion, but it is. It's very important for every Real Housewives franchise to confront touchy, painful, heavy subjects when they come up organically on a season. Race is a very huge topic on these shows that goes completely ignored until there is a non-white cast member, and then there's 85% of the cast that gets super racist. Yeah. Then when it gets brought up, you get the "why are you making everything about race" reaction from the cast, and the "I only watch this show for entertainment, not to further the woke agenda" from the fans. And yeah, I've seen that too. Politics is another one. I mean, these are very wealthy people, so it isn't not surprising that they have political ideas that value the protection of their bank accounts above human dignity, but they will never talk about it, which is weird. It's stuff like this that is brought up, it's never talked about with any sincerity, and a fan comment thread turns into Satan's belly button. So unpopular opinion, let's mention it all in my Bethany voice with my legs spread open. I must agree. Thank you for your opinion, by the way. I agree with that. I feel like a lot of people actually get that reaction. I see it a lot online where something gets brought up. Like, for example, Ebony, when she was talking about it this past season on the Housewives in New York, people like freaked out. People were going insane. I saw people were just writing so many, giant like posts and tweets and everything, like saying, "Oh, I watched this show for drama, for the women to have fun, to get drunk. I'm trying to relax. I'm not trying to talk about politics. It's already bad. That's on the news all the time, blah, blah, blah." But it's just like, you do notice that the show is called The Real Housewives of whatever city, right? Like, this is the real world. This isn't something that you could turn off in the real world. Yeah, on the show, if you start seeing that they're talking about politics and, racism or anything, that's very touchy, yeah, you could turn it off, I guess, or you could just look away or just not watch it. But in the real world, no, there are people that experience, stuff that they're talking about, and you can't just, walk away like, "Oh, you know what? I'm experiencing racism. So you know what? I'm just going to look the other way. I don't want to watch, so I don't want to experience it right now." No, that's not the choice. You don't have that choice in reality. At least most people do. Like, most people of color or any minority, they don't have that type of option. So if it makes you uncomfortable, you have to maybe sit back and think, why is it making me uncomfortable? Like, yeah, I get it. The world is already bad enough. It's kind of put in everybody's face every other day. There's always some type of scandal or some type of racism going on. But I mean, again, that's life. And this is the Real Housewives of whatever city, like I said. And it's just like, that's something that just can't be swept underneath the rug. We head over to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and Blue 92 says, "This is definitely an unpopular opinion, but Claudia Jordan, her reads were not iconic. Sorry, not sorry." And I'm assuming that you were talking about her versus Nene, where she was just like, spell bridesmaid and and all of that. I mean, yeah, I remember at the time where it came out, people were saying, "Oh, she just took all her jokes that she was saying about Nene from the internet." That's what everybody's been saying about Nene for years. I remember what she said about Nene. She also said something about like her hair looking like ramen noodle or something like that. It's not necessarily that they were iconic. I feel like it was her delivery. She was so fast with it. I mean, regardless whether she already had that in the back of her head, just in case if Nene came at her, she was going toe to toe with Nene. And for that, you have to give her a point, because Nene, the reason why I know people always have this discussion on Twitter or online every other month, who do you think that won in that argument between Nene and Claudia? In my opinion, and don't fight me, but I feel like Claudia won. Why? Because she got underneath Nene's skin. Nene, she was putting up a good fight, and yeah, she said some really interesting things back to Claudia. But the second that Nene kind of like lost her composure, and Claudia was just sitting there calmly like, "Oh, really? Really?" It's spelled bridesmaid. Like, she was just going back to toe to toe with Nene in a very calm demeanor. And that, to me, that's better in the argument, because Nene was just all over the place. I mean, she was just like, "Oh, money couldn't buy you a new pussy now, could it?" And then that's when she kind of like just went off the rails. I'm like, what are you talking about, Nene? Like, yeah, she had her funny moments where Nene was just like, "Oh, that Bob." That was funny, and she also has some good reads. But Claudia, in my opinion, she won in that argument. Now, were her reads iconic? I mean, we're still discussing it to this day, right? So, I mean, we head over to the Real Housewives of Potomac, and Mel Penn, thank you for your opinion. They say Monique ruined the Real Housewives of Potomac when she ushered in an unhinged, low-class, damn, fan base after lying on Candace. And I mean, yeah, I feel like, see, Potomac, first of all, they were very under the radar, at least in my opinion, or at least in my world, because season 1, they kept talking about etiquette, and I just could not get into it. Over time, it became better. And then season 5, the infamous fight between Candace and Monique happened, and everybody was tuned in because at the time, and even now, honestly, people like to see a physical fight regardless of whatever, your way you try to disguise it, like, oh, we shouldn't be fighting, this is trash TV. Stop it, stop lying. You like to see a good fight on TV. So people tuned in. They were like, wait a minute, what's going on? Because I remember it like it was yesterday when the rumors came out that something got physical between Candace and Monique, even before the trailer dropped. They were like, wait a minute, what's going on? Because it is typical for somebody here and there to get, their ass beat on the Real Housewives franchise. But for some reason, everybody was tuned in. And then when the trailer dropped, oh, it was over. Everybody tuned in. And Potomac, now I feel like because of that, now Potomac has reigned supreme in my eyes. And I feel like you can't blame Monique or Candace for ushering these fans, or at least I like to call them, these toxic fans, into the franchise, because regardless whether they got into a physical fight or not, the fans should not be acting like that to either one of them. Like, yeah, you may not always agree with everything that Candace says or does. Same thing for Monique. But I mean, is it really that serious for you to get in your feelings years later? If they could move on from it, then so can you as a viewer. You don't know these women personally, so is it really that serious for you to send hate to either one of them? Because Candace, as we all know, people hate Candace. They despise that woman for some reason. And again, I see it. I see her behavior on the show. Do I hate her? No, I like Candace. I understand where she comes from sometimes, and I don't take it that serious. Same thing for Monique. Is it really that serious for you to get worked up and send hateful things to either one of them? It's just like, The next opinion is a combination of Atlanta and Beverly Hills, and it comes from Marsha Ann. Thank you for your opinion. So there's a couple of them. 1, Nene made the Real Housewives franchise what it is today. 2, Cynthia is boring. 3, I would rather see Teddy rejoin the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills than keep Erica on. All right, now, wait a minute, glasses. Hold on. So then number 4 is also Ashley Darby from Potomac has a really big head. Okay, anyways, that last one was unneeded. So let's talk about it. So Nene, I never knew that was an unpopular opinion, that Nene made the Housewives what it is today. In my opinion, she's the queen of all housewives. I mean, she's the person who put the Housewives on the map. People want to discredit her and say, oh, it was really the Real Housewives of New York this, New York that. New York who? New York who? Absolutely not. It was all Nene. Nene, her confessionals, her everything on the show was just hilarious. She was just like the moment. She was the moment. She was iconic. She's everything. So to me, I agree with that opinion. So number 2, with Cynthia is boring. At first, I agree with that. But then after watching this past season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, I kind of miss Cynthia. But then again, that just goes to show, that the bar is in hell. If this past season has me missing Cynthia, what does that say about the show overall? I mean, Cynthia, I really do miss her, though. I do like her. But, I mean, she kind of ran her course on the show. I would like to see her as a friend of the show. That I would like to see her, or even on Beverly Hills, because I think she lives in California now, right? With, what's her husband's name? Mark Chill? Or Chill, whatever it was, but she lives over there, so it was nice to see her, be over there with Sutton and Garcelle, or hopefully she wouldn't be on Kyle's side, but who knows? And I do miss her, her whispers. She'll be like, I went out with Nene, and I went out with her the other day, and I went out with Kenya the other day, and she told me some bad things about Candy, and I just don't want to repeat anything. As for your third comment, I would rather see Teddy rejoin and I don't even have to finish that. Absolutely not. How can you choose Teddy over Erica? I mean, yeah, Erica has her moments here and there, but Erica, people are glued into the Housewives of Beverly Hills to watch her. Regardless whether you hate the woman or not, people are going to hate watch just to watch her specifically. Regardless whether you want to admit it or not, you're tuned in for Erica, regardless whatever you say. If they were to recast Teddy and put her on the next season, can you imagine that? And as for your last comment, Ashley Darby has a big head. Anyways, The next one is a triple threat, and it comes from Rinna Banana. Thank you for your opinions. So we start off with the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Teresa versus Melissa. I know people love to hate on Teresa and that they think that she's a Melissa hater, but Melissa was pretty awful to Teresa, especially in the earlier seasons. She just hit it well and makes it better. She makes better excuses than Teresa. Teresa is not smart and quick enough to come up with comebacks. Okay, number 2, Dorit from Beverly Hills, brings absolutely nothing. Damn, is this Kathy Hilton? So boring. She's so boring. Don't even make her a friend of. And number 3, the Real Housewives of Orange County. They should have kept Noella. Even though she is annoying, she has nothing to hide and says it all. So, okay, we'll start off with the Teresa versus Melissa one. I actually agree with that. Melissa was pretty awful and somewhat kind of iconic. Her earlier seasons, somewhere along the line, she kind of lost herself, and I don't know who she is anymore. But at the beginning, at least she had some type of backbone against Teresa, and she was pretty awful. And if we all remember on Ultimate Girls Trip, they talked about her and Teresa. They talked about it, and they said, "Oh, how did you get on the show?" Supposedly, Melissa got onto the show because she DM'd one of the producers or something like that of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, and she was trying to get on behind Teresa's back. And supposedly, allegedly, she tried to get on because she was just like, oh, if I get onto the show, I'm going to try to expose Teresa. I'm going to take her down. I think that was her excuse and that was her leadway into the show. So, I mean, that right there alone, it lets you know that Melissa was pretty awful. And, I don't think that Melissa and Teresa will ever have a good relationship moving forward. Teresa does not like Melissa. She puts up with her because of Joe, her brother. And even then, it's just kind of like rocky. As for what you said about Dorit, I'm pretty sure if she was to read your comment, this will be her reply. I cannot believe you, Rinna Banana. I cannot believe that you called me boring. How dare you call me boring? I am the last person that is boring on Beverly Hills. I am very chic. I'm very luxurious. I have all the fashions. I can't believe that you would talk about me like that. Maybe my husband PK is boring, but me? Absolutely not. I want my diamond for next season. She'll be looking at your comment like, how dare she? And yeah, people could say she's boring here and there and all that. And I kind of agree, but I don't know, for some reason this season, she hasn't been, doing too much. She hasn't been really okay, Dorit, get off the show. I wouldn't mind to see her as a friend of the show for next season. I wouldn't want her completely gone because she does have her moments here and there where she's, funny here and there. As for her robbery, I'm still convinced that it's all made up and it's a bunch of bullshit. But I do kind of sort of have a very soft spot for Dorit. So I feel like as a friend of, as a diamond holder, absolutely not. I've never heard that conversation online saying, oh, you know what? Dorit, she needs a diamond for next season. As for Noella, so I never watched The Real Housewives of Orange County. I never have, but I did hear a conversation about Noella and how she went against Heather Dubrow and how she was the only one who actually stood up with her. And for some reason, they fired her and she's not coming back next season. Now, I'm not sure if Heather had any type of play in that, but it was pretty disappointing because every time I tune in into the hashtag of The Real Housewives of Orange County, I would see that it was Noella. She was the show, but I did hear that she was annoying and she was just doing way too much. But then again, she was going through a divorce, right? Or something like that. So maybe she would have been good on her second season, but they gave her the boot and that's that. Now we have what? Tamara and what's the other lady? And Taylor Armstrong from Beverly Hills Housewives crossing over, and they're coming over to the Real Housewives of Orange County. So it would have been nice to see Noella, combine her forces with them or whatever to try to take Heather down. But then again, I'm not watching Orange County either, so oh well. The next one up is from Kim. Thank you for your opinion. They say, my unpopular opinion is that Lisa Rinna needs to stay. Hold on, let me duck. Kim said that, not me. Kim said that. Because I already know people are like, wait, what's going on? But you know what? To a certain extent, I kind of, and again, like I said at the beginning of the video, don't fight me, but I kind of see it. I could kind of see what Kim is talking about because Lisa Rinna, I would base it off solely off the last episode of Beverly Hills where it was her against Kathy. And she was just like, you're not going to get away with this, Kathy. Like, Lisa was so extra. She was so dramatic. And that whole performance, to me, earned her another spot for next season. And just like I said about Erica Jane, people love to hate watch. They love to hate watch Lisa Rinna. Regardless of whatever way you see it, Lisa Rinna is somebody that people are going to tune in like, okay, let's see what else she's going to do this episode to make herself look like a fool or to put her own foot in her mouth or whatever. And Lisa Rinna, I feel like she knows that. I feel like her biggest downfall is social media. That's where it's just like, Lisa Rinna, we get your antics on TV. We understand it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's enough. But then you want to spill it onto the social media. And you don't have to do all that, And she just called herself the LeBron James of the Real Housewives. First of all, you're more like the water boy. But I could see her coming back for next season because I could see Bravo being. Then again, I don't know because the audience they really just do not see it for Lisa Rinna. So I don't know if Bravo or Andy are gonna take that into play. Like, okay, should we risk it having her come back for next season because people might not tune in, regardless whether you hate Lisa or Rinna or not. You're gonna tune in for next season if she's on. If she's coming back for next season, people are gonna say, "Oh, I'm not watching. This is my last season. I can't stomach any more of Erica or Lisa." Yes, you will. You're gonna stomach it. You're gonna grab your spoon. You're gonna grab your fork, and you're gonna be eating both of them. Not like that, but you're gonna be watching for next season because again, people love to hate watch. And putting your feelings aside, they bring in the viewers, and I'm pretty sure that Andy and Bravo knows that. But I'm not sure if the backlash is worth it. Amaya Safari, I'm sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly, correct me if I'm wrong, but theirs has to do with the Real Housewives of Potomac. So they say, thank you for your opinion, by the way. They say, just because society may have colorism issues, it does not mean that Giselle, Robin, or Ashley, or Karen are colorists. Everyone is allowed to have conflict, and you shouldn't have to dial it back based on complexion, skin complexion. And I mean, okay, I could see that. Like, I understand, maybe the wives are not the ones that are colorists, but I feel like the fandom is where the issue lies because obviously the issue last season, and honestly from the very beginning of Candace, I feel like the issue has always been like Candace. Why does she get treated with so much hate as opposed to Giselle, who's a light-skinned woman, and Candace, she's a darker complexion. Same thing for Wendy. Both of them get treated like really, really badly, but then people are like, well, how come Giselle doesn't get the same heat? Or even Ashley Darby, when Ashley Darby has been just as awful as Candace and everybody else's eyes. She has done and said some really pretty awful things from the very beginning, but for some reason people are just like, oh no, it's fine. We need the old Ashley back. We need the old Ashley back. Like, she's the iconic one. We need her to be messy. But when Candace does the same thing, again, Candace is a darker skinned woman compared to Ashley Darby. When she does the same thing, all of a sudden they're like, oh, she needs to get her ass beat again. They need to bring back Monique to finish the job. They need to fire her, blah, blah, blah. Like, they want Candace fired every other episode of the Real Housewives of Potomac. And yeah, the fandom, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if that's solely their issue with Candace, if because of skin complexion. I'm not sure if that's completely it, because at the same time, Giselle and Robin, they also get dragged and they're light-skinned women. So I'm not sure if that's really like the core issue. I mean, I feel like it is an issue when it comes to the Potomac women, but I feel like Robin and Giselle get it just as badly because Giselle, she's dragged every other episode. Maybe they don't use as harsher words as they do with Candace, but the fandom just needs to really kind of just dial it back and not give passes to Ashley Darby if they're not gonna be willing to give the same grace to Candace. I mean, again, they do the same thing, but for some reason, Ashley Darby is looked at as iconic and they love her being messy, but Candace, she can't do the same thing because they're ready to crucify the woman for some reason. The next opinion comes from Stefan Martin. There's a couple. So the first one is, Giselle is the real star of Potomac. Each season, she brings the mess and the shade with all the women. I do think as much as people drag her, she will be missed if she was gone. Number 2, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but next season of Atlanta, everybody needs to be recasted but Kandi and Kenya. We could stop it right there. That's true. Number 3, of all the Housewives franchise that have been on this year, Dubai, the Real Housewives of Dubai, has been the best, and it is namely thanks to Chanel Ayan and her fashions and her confessionals. That is true right there. We could stop right there too. Number 4, maybe we should give Ascala from Potomac another chance. Let me continue. Maybe we should give her another chance as a friend of, because I prefer her over Monietta, Fatum, and Cherie. Yeah, and Cherie. I mean, okay, we'll get to the last one. We'll get to the last one in a second. But going back to your Giselle one, yeah, I think if Giselle was to ever leave the show, I think I would genuinely miss her because she's hilarious. Regardless whether you hate her or not, or you think she's messy or whatever, she is funny. She knows exactly what she's doing every single season. She is funny to me. Would I consider her the star? I mean, I think that she's a very valuable player to the Potomac Housewives. I think all of them are actually. I think all of them as a cast, they all really bring something to the show that makes it what it is now. So yeah, if she was to be gone, I would miss her truly. And her bad fashions. Number 2, about Kenya and Kandi. Yeah, Kandi and Kenya being the only 2 that should be coming back. I would add Marlo to that list as well, because again, whether you hate her or not, and this, that, and the third, without Marlo this past season, there will be no Housewives of Atlanta. There will be no drama. There will be no, I'm kicking them the fuck out. There will be no Kandi with her, if you go low, I'm going low with you. There will be none of that if Marlo wasn't around. What, you want them to just all hold hands? No. So, I mean, I would also add Marlo. I don't know who they could recast, honestly, on the Atlanta Housewives. I mean, like I said, I wish they could take a 2-year hiatus and then come back really strong because, again, people want Portia, Nene, and Phaedra. And to me, it's just like, okay, it's been there, done that. We need to, like, move forward and move over. We move with the new era of the Housewives of Atlanta. But as for your next one with Chanel Ayan being the breakout star of Dubai, yeah, I think the Real Housewives of Dubai was so amazing. It was really, really good. People didn't really watch it, and the ratings were technically quote unquote bad, and people just didn't want to give it a shot because there wasn't enough drama. And I feel like people got so accustomed to seeing criminals on the Housewives of anything at this point with Erica Jane, Tom, Jennifer Shaw, that's the only thing that they expect now. Like if you're not a criminal, they don't want to watch it. Like if you're not going to jail in like 2 years, they don't want to watch it. So the Housewives of Dubai, they did bring a lot of drama. They did, I mean, not a lot of drama, but enough to the point where it was good, it was fun, and they moved on, and it was a pretty good cast. Chanel Ayan, she was amazing. She is the breakout star. I mean, she is one of the best housewives that they casted on any of the cities in a very, very, very long time. Same thing with Mary Cosby from Salt Lake City. And Chanel Ayan, I'm looking forward to her being back for season 2. As for your last one with Ascala, giving her another chance. I mean, yeah, she came off thirsty at the beginning. I just didn't like that. She was just so desperate to have an issue with Mia. And, that whole thing with her and I don't know. They should have brought her back because I did like her fashions. They cut all her scenes out with her and her husband and Candace, and I guess she wasn't bringing anything or whatever, so she's not getting a champagne flute. But I would have definitely preferred to see more of her as opposed to Moneta and Sheree and everybody else. Jessica BW says Lisa Vanderpump isn't that sickening. Damn. Number 2, Bronwyn from Orange County was interesting and likable, and I wish we could have seen her evolution. I don't know who that is. Bronwyn? Isn't that a soap? But we go to number 3. Portia is that girl and needs to come back from Atlanta. Number 4, Peggy S. and Noella from Orange County need to come back. I agree with Noella. I don't know who Peggy is. Number 5, Beverly Hills isn't the most glamorous, stylish, or even high fashion franchise. It has never been. Emphasis on never. And I mean, okay, let's start with Lisa Vanderpump. So I like her, right? I like her, and I mean, not to brag or anything, but I did meet her a couple of months ago, We took a selfie and everything and all that. But yeah, I mean, I like her, but I never understood the hype with her. Like, I don't get why people are really up that woman's ass. Like, again, I do like her and everything, but we have to call a thing a thing. I don't understand why she's so like, yeah. Maybe it's because she was actually going against everybody else, and maybe that's why everybody hopped on the train with her. Like, okay, somebody needs to go against Lisa and everybody else and Kyle and everybody else on her team. So Lisa Vanderpump, she was the only one. So of course, that's where she got her following from. But I mean, I never understood the hype around her. Again, I do like you, Lisa Vanderpump. I don't want to take for granted that I met her and everything, but I mean, it's just like, I never got the hype either, so I understand that. As for number 2, I don't know who Bronwyn is. I don't know what that is, so we could just move on to the next one. So Portia is that girl, and she needs to come back. I mean, like I said before in my last review of Atlanta Housewives Reunion, Portia, I love her, and I think she's hilarious and everything, but it's just like, I don't want to see her versus Kenya again for the 100th time. Like, I don't want to see that unless they're going to be best friends or something and team up against Marlo. Maybe I would like to see that, but it's just like, I don't know. At this point, I don't know. We go to the next one. Peggy S. and Noella from OC need to come back. I don't know who Peggy is. Noella, yeah, I mentioned earlier that she should come back. Number 5, Beverly Hills. Yeah, Beverly Hills, I'm not sure if people just, they think that just because Beverly Hills is known for money and having all this luxury or whatever, they consider them stylish or whatever, or because the REIT has blinded the audience thinking that, just because she's quote unquote stylish in their eyes, everybody else on the cast is, because absolutely not. Like, none of them could dress. Like, look at Sutton. Like, Garcelle is the only one I would say that, she has good style on the show. And even her, it's a hit or miss sometimes, because some of her outfits, I'm like, what is going on? But for the most part, she gets it right. The Ree, all she is labels, and everybody else, no. To me, the high fashion housewives city, I think it would be Atlanta, you know, I mean, they prove it time and time again with their photo shoots for the cast photo shoots every other season. We all remember their picture when they were all dressed in all black. We don't get that same hype from Beverly Hills. We're not like, oh, look at Beverly Hills, look at their cast photo, look at everybody's outfit. We don't get that same vibe because of that. The next opinion has to do with the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and it comes from David Anthony. Thank you for your opinion. So they say Kim Fields made an excellent housewife. People say that they want class and elegance with the housewives because it's not Love and Hip Hop. Well, Kim brought that, and she was a great middleman / Cynthia replacement, minus the beef with Kenya. And 2, Bethany is overrated. Damn. As for your first comment about Kim Fields, I mean, she made an excellent housewife. I mean, yeah, she was classy and, you know, all this and all that, but I cannot remember a thing of Kim Fields besides Kenya going at it with her and accusing her husband of being gay. I think that that's the only memory I have of Kim Fields. Other than that, yeah, she's just kind of like a memory that just doesn't exist in my head. I mean, I don't know. She was kind of boring. And comparing her to Cynthia or saying that she was a good replacement for Cynthia, no, Cynthia had her moment. She was funny. She was here and that. She was memorable. Kim Fields, to me, she wasn't memorable at all. Like, I don't remember anything about her besides that. And didn't Kenya like pull her shirt or whatever? I just remember Kenya was just so mean to Kim Fields that entire season that she was on. And that was pretty much it. As for Bethany, yeah, Bethany, that's another one I never got the hype over either. I mean, besides her saying, you know, mention it all with her legs wide in the air. I never got the hype behind her, but then again, I don't watch The Housewives of New York. If you have watched it, do you think that Bethany is, you know, overrated? Do you think she's good? She got her own show too. I'm like, Bethany, out of all the housewives, Bethany got a talk show host? That was canceled. Georgina Moss says, I love Bad Weather from Salt Lake City. So Bad Weather is Heather and Whitney together. I can't wait to see them fight on this upcoming season of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I also want The Real Housewives of Dallas back. It was fun and cute until they started being racist. A new cast with Dr. Tiffany will be great. Also, Whitney from The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is the most attentive housewife. Interesting, I never thought about that. And I also like Lisa Vanderpump, but you could also tell that she was a producer just like Kyle. She was just a little bit more sneakier about it. Also, I didn't like that her husband Ken will also call the other girls bitches. I didn't really like that. Also, I love your channel. You are absolutely hilarious. Aw, thank you, Georgina. Mwah. Well, going back to your first comment. So first of all, wait, there's fans of Heather and Whitney? That's shocking. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, they are pretty cool. And yeah, I'm very curious to see what causes their rift because as of now, I don't think they're still cool according to Whitney on Watch What Happens Live. And they're both cousins. So I'm very curious to see what happens between them or because in the trailer, if you remember, Heather, she flings Whitney across the room. So I'm curious to know what happens with that because Heather, for the most part, she keeps her cool and her character on the show. But I mean, for you to, you know, physically grab your cousin and throw her against the wall, something bad must have happened. And Whitney being the most attentive housewife, I mean, I'm not sure. That's a really good point. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit. She's very in the known, though. I mean, I feel like she knows that she's filming a TV show. She can't be boring. She really has to, quote unquote, bring it. So that way her snowflake doesn't melt for the following season. So I feel like, yeah, she knows exactly what she's doing. As for Lisa Vanderpump, she was definitely a producer just like Kyle. The only difference is that Kyle, she was a little bit more rowdier in her earlier seasons. Lisa Vanderpump, she had poise. She was very calm and relaxed. And she had this very, you know, calm demeanor to her where she would talk to you and she'll be like, oh yeah, did you hear about so-and-so and what she said? Did you hear about so-and-so and what she did? And you wouldn't really notice it. Kyle, she was a little bit more obvious with it. Dahlia or Dalia Harrod says, I don't mind Teddy on Beverly Hills. Now, wait a minute. This is the second or third comment now praising Teddy and wanting her back on the show. What is going on here? Teddy, is this you? They also go on to say, I like my housewives segregated. I'm not a fan of this integration. I don't think it works. So let's go back to that first comment, right? So Teddy, you want Teddy back on the Housewives of Beverly Hills? Why? What's your motive here, Dahlia or Dalia? What's going on here? But as for your next comment, I'm assuming that you mean race, that you don't want any races to be mixed in any of the cities. Like if you're going to have an all black cast, it's going to be all black. If you're going to have an all white cast, it's going to be all white. And there should be no mixture of that. And I mean, I like to see diversity in the Housewives cities, but I can see that it becomes very problematic with the women because for some reason they just cannot handle it, you know, because they have such, you know, idiotic views. For example, the Real Housewives of New York, they never had a black castmate, I think, and they added Ebony. And look, they could not even have a simple conversation with the woman woman without saying something dumb or something problematic. Garcelle, to a certain extent, she also had the same experience as a black woman, on Beverly Hills. She went in there and, for the most part, it was okay. But then last season, people started showing their true colors with Kathy saying that she doesn't see color. Sutton, she also doesn't see color and everything. And, Garcelle, she felt uncomfortable. She's like, well, I keep trying to be everybody's friend, but, I still feel like an outsider. And obviously it's because her as a black woman, she's trying to break into the circle of white women. And that could also be challenging. And it's not fun to watch either. I don't like seeing any minority on any of the housewives struggle with like trying to break into a circle full of white women. It's just, I don't like that. I mean, has it ever been successful in any of the other cities? I think the Housewives of Dubai, they were pretty well, and they only had one white woman on the show, Caroline Strawberry. But even then, she did put her own foot in her mouth maybe like once or twice when she told her husband, Sergio, about Chanel Ayan and Lisa Milan. She was just like, oh, you're going to become one of them? So even then, even then we still have issues. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the only cast that actually did it right was the Real Housewives of Miami. They have a mixture of everybody, and for the most part, everybody gets along, and there's no type of, racism or anything like that in that group as of now that I know of. So, I mean, it could be done kind of, but then it's just like, again, I don't like seeing the whole, one versus everybody else in the group. That doesn't look right to me. But then again, at the same time, I want diversity. I want representation. Like, for example, Garcelle, I like that she broke into Beverly Hills, and she shows that not only white women are rich in that town, there could be black women. I wouldn't even mind seeing a Latina for my own representation in Beverly Hills, to show that Latinos can be rich and just as, successful as everybody else on that show. The next opinion comes from Milana Anderson. They say, Phaedra is unlikable. I don't understand why people want her to return. I couldn't stand her before the candy slander. Portia was just as guilty as Phaedra when it came to the candy rumor. And Kenya did not charge at that woman during the pillow talk. She walked. Charging at someone is running towards them aggressively, like you're going to attack them. That's an interesting one. Okay, so let's go back to the first one. So Phaedra is unlikable. What? I mean, yeah, Phaedra was extremely effed up for what, the whole situation with her, Candy, and Portia. She was completely wrong and the wrong for that whole situation. But to say she's unlikable, I mean, she is funny. She's hilarious. I mean, she's a liar, yes. She got caught up in her lies and in her words and stuff. And yeah, she's very delusional. Let's go back to that one season where she was just like, this baby needs to come out of me. I think the baby's just like, I don't know. I don't even know when it's due. And what did Nene say? Shut up. You're stupid. So she is kind of like on the little wompy side, and for her to be a lawyer, yeah, she's just a hot mess with that. But I don't think that she's unlikable. I mean, I think she's hilarious. She's funny. She just came back on the Real Housewives of Dubai and Ultimate Girls Trip, and she was funny. So she does have, her little moments here and there. I feel like people hold the whole Candy situation, and rightfully so, above her head, and that's what makes her unlikable to everybody else. And it's crazy to me that people are willing to give her a pass for all of that. I mean, that is a huge slander on Candy's name, and people are just willing to forget it just because they want good TV. And it's just like, okay, fine. I guess we pick and choose. As for Portia being just as guilty as her, yeah, Portia played the whole, oh, I'm dumb, I don't know what's going on, blah, 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 like, no, I don't know what I did. It was all Phaedra. Phaedra's the one that did it to me. Like, Phaedra's the one that said it, and I just repeated it. No, you also had a part to play in that, Portia. It's just, because people think that she's dumb and that she plays dumb really well, people are willing to excuse it. As for your next one, with Kenya charging at the woman during the iconic Pillow Talk episode, ooh, that episode was just so good. I rewatched it recently, and I'm like, wow. I mean, it was just a hot-ass mess. Everybody was going at it. What did Candy say? I'm gonna drag you in this bitch. But Kenya, yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday when she got up and she was like, no, I'm not backpedaling. This is backpedaling or something like that. And then she walked towards, who was it that she was walking towards to? It was somebody's wife. And then the man grabbed her. I did not like that. And then that whole thing just escalated. I don't think that she was charging at the woman that she was going after. I mean, I don't know why she got out of her seat to head over to the woman in the first place. Like, what was she going to do in the first place to begin with? Like, okay, let's say that the guy never grabbed her. What was going to happen then? Was she going to get in the woman's face, or was it happening? Was she going to stop at some point? I'm not sure. But yeah, that whole situation, it was all Nene's fault, because Nene was just all over the place like that night, that specific episode. She was all over the place. And for her to blame Kenya, like, you should have gotten out of your goddamn seat. For her to say that to Kenya, she was in the complete wrong because Kenya did nothing wrong. The man grabbed her. I mean, yeah, I could understand if he like blocked her, like, oh no, don't go into my wife. I'm not sure what you're doing. But for you to put your hands on another woman, no, that's where you completely messed up and you were in the wrong. So Kenya, to me, in my opinion, she never did nothing wrong that whole night. She was just there like an innocent bystander. Apollo and Peter and everybody else, and what's the name? Cynthia's sister, they were the ones that were out of line. They all were just a hot ass mess that episode. You know what? Let me go watch that now. The next opinion is from Luella. They say, can we see more of Brooks Marks, aka Meredith's son from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? And my only response to that is, why? Miranda Madison says, I miss season 1 and 2 version of Kyle on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I also love Garcelle, but I'm honestly tired of watching her antagonize Erica for a response. Erica is in a legal situation. How she chooses to speak or not to speak is her business. So let's go back to your first comment about Kyle. Kyle, at the very beginning of her run on this show, she was such a mean girl. She was such a quote unquote bitch, and she had no problem standing in it. Like, she would get in your face, she would get down and dirty with everybody on the cast and had no problem with it. Now, I mean, she kind of plays it in her confessional. She talks shit in her confessional. She doesn't really do anything. I mean, unless you're Michael Myers, she's not gonna go up to you face to face and fight you. Like, she's just, now she's just like the producer, and she's doing a really sloppy job at it, unlike Garcelle, who's doing a really good job at it. And Kyle, Kyle, she just thinks that she's like the puppet master, like everybody could do her dirty work. And for the most part, they kind of are. I mean, they kind of fall for it. She goes up to somebody and she's like, oh, Dorit, guess what so-and-so said about you? Oh, Erica, guess what so-and-so said about you? And then she has everybody else falling out between each other. And she's just playing in the background like, yeah, I did that. As opposed to back then, she would get down and dirty with the whole cast. And I miss that Kyle. At least back then, if she was going to be bitchy and mean and everything, she stood in it. Now, she just cries all the time and just like, oh, how dare you, how dare you, how dare you. But whatever. As for Garcelle, yeah, I said it before in my reviews. Garcelle, she should have just stopped because I could have swore she said to Cherie on the phone, oh yeah, I'm not going to worry about Erica anymore. We're not friends. We're not this. We're not that. So the fact that she kept dragging Erica with this whole conversation about the earrings and asking like, oh, why did you not give them back? Why did you not give them back? Why would you do that? I found it pointless. I'm like, you just said that you were not her friend anymore. Why does it matter to you? So I thought that she should have let it go too. Erica, at the same time, if she was thinking a little bit better, she'll be like, you know what, Garcelle, I can't talk about this anymore right now with you, Crystal, or anybody else about my legal issues because obviously I'm being filmed and I can only say but so much. But no, Erica, she just continues, feeding right into anybody who talks to her about it, and she lets her emotions get the best of her, and then she puts her own foot in her mouth. And we'll end it off with Libria Rose's opinion. So the Grande Dame, aka Karen Huger from the Real Housewives of Potomac, is broke and fake. She is a liar and a social climber. Monique Samuels was boring, fake, desperate, and violent. She completely ruined season 5 of Potomac. Well, all right then. So we'll end it off there. Those were some of your unpopular opinions. Now, do you agree with some of them? Do you not agree with them? Are there more unpopular opinions out there for a part 2 of this video? Let me know. And remember, like I said at the beginning of this video, do not try to fight me. Or each other. These are just unpopular opinions, and we were just, talking about them. Let me know what you thought about all these opinions down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.